What's going on, Rob?
Hey, Moriah, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, welcome back, everybody, to Dear Glory. I'm kind of playing around, and Rob, you tell me what you think. I'm kind of playing around with a title for this segment because you're going to be here bi-weekly, and I'm really excited about that. I'm kind of thinking about the Glory Pulse. What you think?
Yeah, okay, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
That's
The
not
Glory
solid.
Pulse. That's that. There you go. I like it. I like it. Let's not overthink it too much. The
I
Glory
know,
Pulse.
I know, I know. I don't want to make that like solid or concrete, but you're here, guys. If you have watched probably two videos ago, you seen Rob and I have a really insightful conversation, and we've been talking since then, and we thought it would be an amazing idea. Rob lives in New York. I'm here in Houston. And he's there all the time. So we thought it would be a really great idea for Rob to come and share his insights on what's going on in those New York streets and be a really, really, really credible voice for New York. So every other week, Rob's bringing us the pulse of the city, what's being shown, what exhibitions he's recommending you guys keep an eye on and you go see. And he's also going to give us his opinion, and we'll dibble and dabble into into a few other subjects. But anyway, Rob, so you tell us what's going on, what's happening in New York right now.
So, the wonderful thing, and I am grateful to be living in New York, which, as everyone who's watched Your Glory knows, the biggest art market in the world. And so that just means, there are 1,400 galleries, a gang of museums, excuse me, and so there's a lot of art to be seen, and so I'm really fortunate that way that there are a lot of shows to choose from. And so for this segment, this first segment, I'm just going to highlight four that I think are really worth seeing. Um, One is leaving within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
And the other three are around a little bit longer. The first one I'm going to start with is a Puerto Rican brother, Gamaliel Rodríguez, whose show is at Sperone Westwater, and his show is titled La Luz de Adelante, The Light
Mm.
Ahead, and it's really an exploration of like the precarious balance, as the gallery says, exploring themes of ecological transformation, colonial legacies,
Mm.
and precarious balance of nature and industry in the Caribbean. And so he's doing a lot of landscape type work that is beautifully high contrast, and it reminds me of photography, which I have a soft spot for because I'm a photography hobbyist. So I
Mm.
love these high contrast color sort of images that he is creating. And having seen his work over the last year, it really feels like his practice has evolved into a point where things are really coming into focus and he's starting to stick the landing in a way. It's just like, things are coming together. And
I
it's really
love that.
exciting to see that
Yeah.
in an artist's growth. The work is beautiful and it is a show that I recommend. That is there through April 26th at Sperone
Okay.
Westwater.
Okay, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Don't you love that when you can see like this artist that you've been following for a while and then all of a sudden you're like, ah,
They get it.
they're
They got,
there.
yeah, yeah. Because that's the thing. Artists, it takes time for an artist to find their voice, refine their vision, and be able to execute it and evolve it to a point, and that's the thing you can't rush. That is the thing that can't be rushed.
Right, right. So what else you got?
So, of course, we got to tip our hat to the queen, Amy Sherald, whose, work many people, including myself, really knew from her portraits of Michelle Obama and Breonna Taylor. But this is a sort of a survey of all of her work, and it takes over the entire fifth floor of the Whitney. And it is such a wonderful show to see everything in one space, to see the scale of the work, and to see how she is centering everyday Black Americans and, really focusing on their individuality and extraordinary, as they say, in their ordinariness, you know. And it's really about just like regular black people real with this real sort of sense you get of their interiority, like they're really sort of just kind of in their own heads a little bit,
Mm.
which is really nice. And again, just really great to see examples of her work in one place and to walk and around and be surrounded on so many sides by these like life-size portraits. It's really recommended show. It's up through August 10th. So if you are all making anybody making a trip to New York, please stop by the Whitney. It is so, so incredible.
Yeah, man, I wish I could come. I just had a baby. I'm not traveling with her yet. But hopefully by August I can make it up to New York and see this show. It's something I just don't, and I've already missed. I think I missed. Did I miss Nick Cave? Is that over?
Nick Cave might be done. I'm not sure because it had been up for a while. But you know, it's really wild. This spring is going to be, in addition to Amy, there's three other incredible survey shows that are up. There will be Rashid Johnson
Mm.
at the Guggenheim. There is Jack Whitten is up at MoMA, and then I just found out that later in May is going to be a career survey of Lorna Simpson.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah.
tough.
Oh, and what also just opened at the Museum of Art and Design is a mid-career survey of Saya Woolfolk.
I don't
So
even know Saya Wolfhawk.
yeah, she's another world builder. Just really incredible. At this show, somebody was I was with a group of people, and they were like, "Oh, you know, that show just opened on Thursday." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I got to get there to see that as well. But just really, really wonderful stuff is coming or is actually being mounted right now. Um, Let me just go on to very quickly through May 19th at Plato Gallery is this wonderful artist, Kwesi Kwarteng.
Mm.
He's from Accra, but lives here in New York. He works in fabric. And so, you know, what you see are these like really beautiful color and fabric juxtapositions that are in many ways so serene and calm and painterly, you know.
Mm.
And it's really um and so these are sort of like flat pieces, but then there's one piece where he's really explored sort of like giving it a three-dimensionality, which is really exciting. So I'm really excited to see where he goes with that piece called Woven World,
Mm.
in parens yellow, and it's really this like looks like a surface of a terrain, you know, that kind of
Mm.
thing. And just beautiful use of fabrics, and again, it's all feels so painterly, you know. It's
Mm.
not just like rough stitching or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
really a beautiful work. And so that's up through May 19th. And then the last show that I saw just week before last was Vanessa German at Kasmin, and she is artist who lives in North Carolina. She is presenting these works of these monumental heads that remind you of like sort of the Olmec heads
Yeah.
that, you know, from, you know, Mesoamerica, you know, sort of like Central America, like the
Yeah.
Aztec
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But these are heads that are made of that she's thinking of as kind of like these cosmic maps.
Mm.
And they're made up of many materials like lapis and rose quartz and onyx and obsidian, and really what her she's thinking about, you know, sort of like map making their heads as maps of like new places to be, to go. She's thinking about healing and wellness in her for her viewers. And then she in a second space in the gallery, she's got these smaller figures, which she calls like these fallen figures, and they're all in various stages of doing the what do they call it, the death drop, like if you've ever seen voguing or something like that. Yeah, and all their heads are made up of sort of these kind of like racist, like little like caricatures and stuff like that, and puppets and stuff, because she's talking about reclaiming them, and sort of like the all the figures are sort of rising, like they are like getting up from the drop. That,
Wow.
they have emerged as kind of like phoenixes, and they are born anew.
You
And
posted about this, right?
I haven't posted about this one yet. I'm trying to write something a little more coherent than that.
Okay, I thought I seen it. I've
But
seen it
yes,
somewhere, and you explaining it so vividly. Like I remember seeing this, and I remember just feeling very. I loved it so much. I need to take a second look. So thank you for mentioning this
yeah. So
work.
those are the four shows and that show is up through May 10th at Kasmin. And I'm sure there's going to be some more stuff. I will see some more stuff next time we talk.
Man, there's so much art out there. It's just like it's no way. I
Really.
think we talked about this before. It's no way that we all know everything.
Right.
And yeah,
Right.
so you coming through with your perspective and telling us what you've been seeing, and you're on the ground, like you said, in the art mecca, and all of us can't be there all of the time. So
Right.
to be in the arts and be there is such a blessing.
Yeah, it
Um,
really is. It really
yeah, so
is.
thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so
Hmm.
much. So I want to talk a little bit. Last week was crazy. I mean,
Hmm.
the headlines were almost overwhelming. I just had to
Right.
like kind of just take a step back, dial back, and
Right.
I even listened to what's the name? Art Logic. I even listened to Art
Oh,
Logic.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. They shared very similar sentiments to like everyone's kind of feeling the same
Yes.
about the market right now, but one thing that they really focused on is do not panic.
Right. Right. Don't
And
panic. Don't
I think
panic.
that's like a world thing right now, like politically everything. Like just do like stay very calm, make very conscious, intuitive, slow decisions.
Right. Right. Right.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking
I mean,
about?
I think too that, I was at an opening last night. I haven't posted about this yet, for the textile artist Desmond Beach, and his gallerist Richard Beaver's black owned gallery here in Brooklyn. Rich has been doing this for at least a decade, and has a great program here. Um, he was saying that this is actually a great time to buy on the secondary market, because the market's soft. So you may be able to pick up some pieces that you have been keeping an eye on, because a lot of money's sitting on the sidelines because of the instability. And
Mm,
so it may be an opportunity. It always is an opportunity when prices drop. If you have extra cash that you can afford to risk,
mm,
then you may be able to scoop up some bargains of some
mm.
pieces. Um, one of my clients just said, "Oh my God, I just won my first auction, in the last like 45 seconds. I just put a bid in on something," and they're like, "Hey, you won."
Yeah,
So, it all depends on how you see. You can think the sky is falling.
yeah.
And look, the news has not been great.
Mm,
The If you pay too closely attention to the stock market, and the numbers every day, but unless you're a day trader, you don't need to do that. And I think long term, honestly, what I think is going to happen is the billionaires in the president's ear are going to be like, "Hey, player, come here. I need to holler at you for a second." Because it's just messing up the money situation, and like
yeah,
all markets and all business, particularly here in the United States, and what makes our economy so incredible and so attractive, is that there's stability.
mm.
And at some point, the money people are going to be like, "Listen, we need stable environment," which means you need rule of law, you need stable markets, you need things that you can count on if you're expecting the people to invest in it. And so right
Yeah,
now we're a little too early to say, "Oh my God, move your money out to like somewhere else or do this, that, and the third."
yeah,
It's
yeah,
obviously keep an eye on things, but I do think that from an art standpoint, look, there are still shows going up. There is still incredible art. And I think that, as we've seen from the UBS report, galleries want to make some deals. They want to move work. And I think the smart galleries are going to be making sure that within each show, as much as they can, they're going to have works at lower price points or more affordable price points because that's what's been selling.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like those big high end, like $10 million pieces or whatever. They're not, but like work under, what did the UBS report say? Work under $250,000
Under
seems to be
two
selling.
between 5,000 and 250,000 and a lot in that 5,000
There's
mark.
a lot in that $5,000 range
Yeah.
that you can get works on canvas. You can get prints, you can get drawings, you can get watercolors, you can get artist proofs of things. I mean, there's still work to be had
Yeah.
out there, and there's still ways you can still participate because what I would hope for and like to think that this is just some cyclical stuff. I mean, it's not cyclical when you got somebody just like crazily trying to negotiate trade deals with 190 countries. But
Yeah. Unfortunately,
that
he's
said,
cyclical. He's back for
yeah,
his second
yeah.
cycle.
So I mean, I expect this. I'm optimistic, at least for right now, that we're going to come out of this. Things are going to rebound. And
Yeah.
still, look, you see that in 2024, the art market still, even though it's down 12%, it's still nearly $58 billion global industry.
Yeah.
So it's not for nothing. It's
Mm-hmm.
still, there's still business being done and business to be done and work to be acquired. There are artists who are still making great work out there right now.
Mm.
And I would just say this is a great time for collectors who may have been buying a little more freely
Mm.
last year, maybe to sit back and really start thinking about what is your collection strategy going forward. So you can
Right.
be really clear about where you're deploying your resources and where you're allocating your resources. If you say, this is my budget that I'm sticking to this year, I'm trying to acquire these kinds of pieces. This is great to know about this, but here's what I'm looking for. And that kind of clarity is another way that you can navigate the volatility with some confidence. So
Right. Right. Absolutely. And volume is up, so people are buying more. They're buying more and they are
buying the
being,
dip, they buy
they're,
the dip.
and that you should do that everywhere.
Yeah, it's not, things are not great, but they're also not terrible. As our
Yeah.
grandparents used to say,
Yeah.
it's not that bad yet. And
Hmm.
business is still trying to operate, business is still trying to get done. Working with folks in the private sector. I mean, things are getting more challenging, but at the same time, money is getting spent.
Mm.
Folks are still trying to do some things, and I would keep the faith, like you were saying earlier. And, it's a month by month kind of situation. But for right now, as of what is it, April 13th, there are some deals out there to be had. And if you're
Mm.
thinking long term, I think it's still a great, and art remains a great hedge against market volatility anyway. It's not
Right.
going to fluctuate. The price that you buy it is probably not going to drop in value. It's probably not. I'm
Yeah.
no financial wizard, but unless the artist stops making art and all the galleries go out of business, there will be a market.
Yeah. I'll say this. At this time period, if collectors and institutions and those in residencies, if they are seeing something special in you, I would rather, if I'm an artist, I would rather be doing very well right now than in
Right,
2020 and
right,
2021
right.
because people are going slow. They're
Mm-hmm.
thinking they're consciously collecting. They're thinking very they're being smart collectors, so they're not just they're not, there's not a lot of hype going on right now.
Right,
And so hype is not always the greatest thing. Hype always
right.
goes down. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're an artist out there, or galleries that are, and galleries are also being very, very, very selective of who they're showing,
Mm-hmm.
and they're pushing those artists, and they're pushing not just the sales, because they know they can't depend on just pushing sales right now. So things are becoming a lot more holistic.
Mm-hmm.
And I would rather be an artist in this climate and grow
Mm-hmm.
my career in this climate than in a hype-based climate.
Right, right. I
Yeah.
would I would 100% agree. I think this is a great time to begin to develop relationships, no matter where you are in your career. your career lifespan. If you're just starting out, this is a great time to get out there and start meeting people
Yeah.
and begin to build relationships, begin to understand of the galleries in your area, who's doing what, whose programs do you like, who do you think has solid programs, and then start to get on those galleries radar, invite those people to studio visits, that kind of thing. Again, if you're a collector, this is a great time to maybe slow down, but also thinking about what is your strategy. And also think about, you bought a bunch of stuff last year. Are you properly insured? Have you
Mhm.
had your work appraised? Do all the things to protect the value of the art you do have and develop a strategy going forward. Like, what am I going to be spending on art this year? What kind
Mhm.
of pieces do I want?
Mhm.
And how do I want to evolve my collection so that it says something else in addition to what it already says? How can I make what it's saying more resonant? What pieces am I missing? What types of work am I missing? Those are the things you can be doing right now while you're seeing. And the more clarity as a collector you have, you can be more focused out there, and deals will be more readily apparent, I believe, if you are not just out there like, oh, this is pretty. Oh, I like this. It's
Right.
like, think it through. Think it through,
Mm.
because no matter where you live, you only have so much wall space.
Hmm. And if you're an artist out there and you're listening to this, I hope you guys are listening to um, kind of the sentiment that we're sharing towards collectors because you got to know these things, right? You have to
Right.
know what advisors are telling their clients, how we're speaking to collectors, right? Because that really does apply to you. So if we're saying it's a market to be deeper, go slower, build relationships, that goes for artists as well. Go
Right.
deeper, build relationships. Like the advice, or I don't even like to call it advice, but the thoughts that are shared with collectors, they flip right on over to artists.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And also this is a great time to really think about, from an artist standpoint, thinking about where your practice is
Right.
and how you can continue to push yourself and evolve the work, and start to get some feedback from your trusted circle of people. It'd be like, what do you think about this? What am I doing? And it doesn't have, you don't have to put it out on Instagram and be like, hey y'all, what do you think about the latest work? But really people whose opinions you trust, that are in your world, that whose opinions you value, to say
Right.
like, what am I thinking? What do you think about this? And it could be fellow artists, it could be other curators you have a relationship with. But think about, how do I keep evolving as an artist?
Right.
Because that's the thing. And if you have these sort of slower times, if they are slower or if they're going to be slow, then this is the time to do your research and think about learning new techniques or getting new inspiration or
Right.
trying new things, so that whenever things open back up to where they were in like 23, 24, and who knows what this year is going to be. It could be, things could be fine. You just want to be ready. When your
Right.
moment comes, you just want to be ready.
Be
That's
ready.
that's it.
That's right.
And it's just about continuing to push forward and not worrying about the daily headlines, but just keep working on your practice, because people who are heavy in the art world, they're looking for people who've committed long term to a practice. And when they see a body of work and see what you're developing, it's like, oh, like I went to see this one artist, and like I'd known her for certain types of drawings and certain type of work, but then on the studio visit, it was like, oh, you're doing some real world building here.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
that's a whole different thing. She said, I'm trying to develop this. And she had all kind of
Mm.
different iterations, from drawings to watercolors, really
Mm.
around a character that was sort of a through line through work. She had these sort of architectural models she was built.
Mm.
I'm just like, oh, this is.
You're saying something so important right now, and I'll share something I learned this weekend or on
Hmm.
Friday as well. But you said through line, which is very important. You got to have a through line in your work, and you said studio visit. The studio visit is so important, And I visited Rick Lowe's studio last Thursday.
Mm.
And it was my first time at his studio. And I, first of all, walked in there, didn't know what I was about to see, but he's working on some of the most amazing work I've seen to this day. And we're walking around his studio, and I'm like, wait, so this is a derivative of this, and this is a derivative of this. And it was just a lesson, even for me, and I'm not an artist, it was a lesson to be in practice
Hmm.
and focus on the things that you're doing and then go deeper into that and then go deeper into that and then keep going
Hmm.
deeper into that. And so like if you're an artist and you find this, you find this base and you understand your through line, going deeper and deeper and finding new ways and more ways to engage with what you're already doing, that's when you get it. That's when you
Yes,
got it. That's
100%. And
yeah.
that's when you start to see these really expansive practices like, you think of a Theaster Gates,
Hmm.
just moving across a whole lot of different media, genre, place-based work.
Hmm.
And I was thinking of him too, because the other show to see in New York, I should mention, is Tavares Strachan. Also an expansive practice,
Hmm.
using everything from robotics to trigger musical instruments
Hmm.
to real big installation pieces to using the inspiration from the word search puzzles his grandmother used to do to make
Oof.
work. I mean, so yeah, it's just like when you see an expansive practice, you're just like, wow, you
Yeah.
know, this is what, and everybody has that capacity to just really be trying a lot of different things. And if you're doing it as part of your practice, it's not like, oh, I have to be a painter. It's like you could do that, but you can also, if you've got some interest someplace else, you could try some of that because
Yeah.
that just means you're a multidisciplinary artist and
Right.
whatnot. It does you're not limited. That's the whole beauty of art. You're not limited to anything. You can focus on an area, but you're not limited. And so when
Mm.
you see these practices that have just like become so expansive, it really does inspire me with just like the breadth of, honestly, the breadth of Black genius. And when I see stuff like that, I'm just like, wow,
Yeah, I love it.
wow.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you for sharing with us today. And I'm so excited that we're doing this. I'm excited that we're
Yes,
going to do it again in 2 weeks.
yes, yes.
And, I want to say we're also thinking about bringing others onto the show.
Absolutely,
And,
absolutely. Find out what's going on in other markets
yeah,
because,
yeah,
there's a lot of great work out there. There's a lot of great work out
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And
And we
a
got to
lot of great
share it.
work and a lot of great work from broadly speaking, the African diaspora and the global South. There are such incredible artists out there, doing
Yeah,
thoughtful work um, and I think the platforms like this sort of can lift that up. And the work that we both do is about lifting that up so that everybody, not just, Black folks, but everybody can see like there is so much to choose from out here.
yeah. And it's so much beauty and there's so much
Yeah,
inspiration and we can find ourselves in these things. And this is so beautiful, to do this because it's a constant reminder of why I fell in love with art and why I want to go deeper into my practice with
right.
others and with community. So thank you, Rob. We're
Thank you.
gonna continue to unpack so many things of what's on in New York. And even if you have some thoughts on other places, we'll talk. And I hope you
Yeah,
guys are here to listen, here to learn, and also here to share what's going on in your city. So in the comments, go ahead and drop down where you live and let us know what's going on in the city that you live in. Tell us what artists we need to be paying attention to because there's absolutely no way we could just have our eyes and our ears literally everywhere.
right.
So yeah, guys, just keep engaging with us, and we'll keep engaging with you. Make sure you guys follow Rob at Rob Fields on Instagram. Okay, that's the one,
That's
right?
it. At
Okay.
Rob Fields. Yes.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys later. Rob, you have anything else you want to add?
No, just wishing everybody enjoy